Hello, this is Angela. I just want to talk to you guys about street harassment. Now, street harassment is when, a woman is out in a public space. Well, it could happen to a male too, but it's generally when a woman is out in a public space and a male basically says sexual things to her or tries to get her number and repeatedly just will not leave her alone. Regardless of what she says. If she says she has a boyfriend, or if she says she's not interested, or she says she's 13, they'll just kind of maybe follow her for as long as they can, or just say horrible, nasty things to her. Now, I know that for some women, they are young women, they kind of internalize this and kind of blame themselves a little bit for their this person harassing them. And, it might be the body part that they comment on, like they say, oh, I like your butt or I like your big butt. And some girls might be like, oh, I have to go and lose like 20 pounds so I can get rid of this butt. Or, obviously this is for a large bust blog, so there's probably some young women who are large breasted who might feel that, some guy might say, damn, look at those titties, or, can I get your number? I like your titties, or something like that. And it sounds crazy, but that is some things that I have heard. I mean, people have said that to me, and you know, it's not the girl's fault that these guys are kind of going out of their way to say these things. These girls or women that it's entirely the fault of these guys. They don't know how to talk to women, or they don't care. It's like a sport to them. It's a game to them. And if they get a girl's phone number from it, or maybe get to date that girl, then that's like good. And if they don't, well, that's well, whatever. I'll do it to the next girl, and maybe it will work, and maybe it won't. And I wouldn't say that you should change yourself or how you dress or how you act because of these other people. It's their own problem that they can't relate to women as people instead of just objects for them to, ridicule or talk about. Um, I guess like I could talk about some experiences that happened to me. Well, I've been on the train and had this fellow see me. It was only me, him, and like two other women. And he got out of his seat and he came over to where I was sitting. I was alone. And he put his arms on like either side of like these kind of like rails that's supposed to hold you up, if you're not sitting, if there's not enough seats. And he's like holding these like kind of like rails and like pumping his self like at my face, like like pretty much pumping the air with his hips, and um, like he was trying to trying to make me give him oral or something like that. And I didn't know this guy from Adam. And the two women who were on the train, they saw the whole thing, and they were older than me. They didn't say anything to him. They didn't say anything to me. They didn't get up to press the help button or anything. They just kind of sat there like looking like, I can't believe what I just saw, but what can I do about it? And the guy just, I was so kind of scared and shocked, and I didn't know what to do, so I just turned my head and tried to look at the women and they just looked at me like, well, I can't believe what I'm seeing either, and I don't know what to do about it, and I'm not going to do anything about it. And so, pretty much when we got to the next train station, I ended up just jumping out of my, seat and going up the stairs. I mean, it was my stop anyway, but I was so glad to get there. And like in other times, one time I was um, out and I went to the library, and uh, some guy followed me out of the library, and he was like trying to hit on me and stuff like that, and trying to get my phone number, and he was trying to talk me into going and having sex with him, and, and I was like, no, 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 and just trying to walk away from that. Other times I've been propositions. This was at the T. Um, these two fellows, I would see them every now and again because they would take the T around the same time I would. And they're like, "Oh, I have a job for you. I have a job for you." And I was like 14 years old, and I was like, "No, no, I'm too young to have a legal job, But like I knew what they were saying, but I wanted to act like I didn't. And this black lady walked by, and she was like, she was dressed like she had like a nice job, and she was, she had a nice walk to her. She looked like, she had like a um, I guess like she looked like she was somebody. She looks pretty stately. And these guys decided to harass her as well. And she was like, no, and fuck you, pretty much. And, she handled it much better than I did. And, like, all I could do was wait for the train because I was like, if I wanted to go home, it probably would take me an hour to walk home versus like 4 minutes to take the train. And, there's been other times when, like the worst time that I can think of, mainly because it kind of led to the worst point in my life, was this. I was walking down the street going to Panera Bread, and I was walking home past the Panera Bread, let's say. Anyways, like I was on this main street, and sometimes when the on these main streets, like if there's like a car accident or even just a stoplight, it will just all the traffic will be like dead all the way down this long street. So even if it was like um, way like maybe a few miles up, it would just be dead all the way down the street. So for some reason, I guess there was I think there was a car accident or something, and the traffic was just at a complete standstill. And the other side of the street, there was absolutely no traffic at all. So I'm guessing that it was like something had happened up the street really bad. And so, anyways, there was this rich-looking guy, white dude, in a car that was like, it was a convertible. It was a really nice day out, and he had the top down, and he was just screaming at me at the top of his lungs, "Are your breasts real? They look like they could be real, are they? I just want to know. Just tell me if your breasts are real." And I was like looking at him, like, what the hell? And like everybody in like the cars next to him could like pretty much like 4 cars down and 4 cars the other way could hear him yelling this out. And I could see there was a woman who was in front of him who was looking at me like, oh, like, but like, what is this guy saying to you? But she didn't like speak up. And I really kind of wish I had just walked over to his car and punched him in the face. Like, even years after, I wish I had just punched him in the face. But I didn't do anything. I just kept walking, and I ended up just going that Panera Bread just so that I wouldn't have to hear him anymore. And, like, I mean, it was, like, really, really horrible. And yeah, I mean, there's been other times on the train where people have done things or said things to me, or other times just out in public that people have done things or said things to me. And, I never really blame myself for it because, like, I could talk to my mom about these things, and she would just go, like, yeah, people are assholes. What are you going to do? And, you know, kind of tell me that I should keep my keys in my hand just in case anything happens or something like that. But never really like how to talk back to these people or how to like, what should I say back to these people, that kind of thing. Never, I don't think it ever crossed her mind that that would be a good idea. And yeah, so I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you feel like you're being harassed and people are talking about your body parts or different, whatever they think of as important about you, it's not really, important. It's their problems, their own immaturity, their own I guess their own mental issues that are causing them to do these things and say these things to you. And you don't have to take it. I can honestly say it might be scary to confront some of these people because you never know what they will do. And I wouldn't advise anybody to necessarily say something back or necessarily confront them if they don't feel like you're comfortable doing that. But what you can do is go to ihollerback.org, and you can put up your story if that makes you feel a little bit better. If someone does is saying something, you can definitely take pictures of them or video of them saying whatever it is they're saying to get proof of what they're saying. Um, you know, I kind of feel like there's only really so much you can do about it because I think a lot of people feel like it's not that big of a deal. Like someone else might say that it's a compliment that these people might say like you look good or you have a nice butt or something like that, and it's really not a compliment. But I know that some people don't get that as a compliment, and I know some people say, well, you might not like it, but that's part of life, and I hate that too because it's kind of like, well, so many people, so many guys do it, so it must be part of society. It's and it must be evolution, part of evolution or something like that, and it must be okay. And it's really not. This is it's really not okay. And so I just urge you guys that if you really do have a problem, that sometimes whipping out a camera, taking a picture of that person, it might be enough for them to leave you alone or think twice about doing it again to you, or putting up your story on ihollerback.org and realizing that it's not just you that this happens to, and it's not just because of your body type, or no matter what your body type is, these kinds of this kind of harassment can happen to anyone, and it's not just because of looks or anything like that. So don't feel like it's your fault, and don't feel like it's your body's fault, and that if you had a different body or could change certain things about yourself that it would stop, because chances are it probably wouldn't. And the only way to possibly stop harassment is to not go outside, and that's not really an option. So I guess just don't take it to heart that this happens, or don't try to use it to change yourself or change how you dress or anything like that. Just be the person you are, and if you see this kind of thing, please please go to iHollerback and write about it. Thank you.